Okay, now the story of Mindjack. I'm just gonna be honest with you people. I have no idea what was going on in Mindjack. Alright? I can explain it. I could try to explain it, but you know me, I'm terrible at explaining stories, and definitely something that I don't understand at all, really. But I'll explain it as stupid as I can, okay? Because the story doesn't explain it very well, and why should I? The story doesn't explain itself, so why should I explain it for you guys? Alright, the story starts off in the year 2031, where the government in the whole world government is just fallen, pretty much. I mean, it's still there, it's just weakened, and all these freaking um, underworld freaking corporations come out of nowhere and start screwing everything up. And they don't explain this. I had to actually read this from somewhere. And you play as this guy named I'm just gonna say Jack Bauer because I don't know. He reminded me of Jack Bauer for somewhat. The main character, the guy on the box. So you play as Jack Bauer, and you go around and you have to. In the beginning, you have to go save this girl. Not really save her, you just have to follow her, and then you find out you're actually kidnapping her, whatever. You kidnap her, you go on, do stuff, there's more twists and turns later on, and it's stupid. You find out the girl you kidnapped is actually like an agent or something like that, and you have to go and stop this whole thing called mind hacking, mindjack, I don't know. I really thought this story was retarded and confusing. So, there you go. I thought it was terrible. I'm just gonna say right there. Let's go on to the sound, because I'm done. Okay, now, sound in the game is horrendous. The voice acting is horrible. The dialogue is laughably retarded. Sometimes there's just stuff that just doesn't make sense, grammatical mistakes, and all that kind of stuff that I just go, that's awesome. I love it. But I love it in a bad way. I love it because it's funny and it makes something entertaining, but still it's bad because it's bad. So I can't just say, oh, it made me laugh. It didn't make me laugh it wasn't purposely making me laugh, it was just making me laugh because it was so freaking bad. So, voice acting's terrible, the sound effects are very generic. When you go into this mind state mode where you could go and control other people with your mind jack abilities, which I'll talk about later, it does this little staticky sound that I had my TV up at first, and I heard reviews here and there talking about this, but I guess I just forgot or something. So I went into this game with the volume really high so I could hear all this stupid dialogue. And I went into this mode right in the beginning, though. It was really right in the beginning where you get taught this. And it's so loud and annoying. All this other sound effects are bad and repetitive, but that one really you'll be using a lot because, you'll be hearing a lot because you'll be using that ability. And it's so loud and annoying. It's just, So overall, the sound is bad. Let's go on to the graphics. Okay, now the graphics in Mindjack are actually not that bad. They're not great. It's probably the best thing we're going to talk about so far in the review because the story and sound weren't very good. So graphics aren't that bad though. The environments look pretty good. Some parts they look eh. Also, the color scheme is a little weird because most of the environments are very white. Like the outsides. Everything is very, what they call futuristic nowadays, where it's just all freaking white and blinds you while you're playing. I think that was the whole thing they were trying to do. Hey, our game's not that good, we're gonna blind you, so we took your $60, you can't return it because you're blind. What are you gonna do, run in the middle of traffic, get hit? Whatever. So, no proof that we did it to you. So, yeah, I think that's the, goddamn. Also, the character models aren't that bad. Some of them are pretty repetitive and generic, like most of the enemies that you fight. But some of them are pretty cool, like the big gorilla that's on the freaking front of the case you play against. And, he doesn't look that bad. Killing him, I was feeling bad because he was probably the most interesting character in the game. And he's a big gorilla, so that doesn't say anything. And he has a big helmet on his head. I was like, it's Gorilla Grodd. Sweet. I love you in Justice League. So, yeah. Character models don't look bad, environments don't look bad, there's some little texture pop-ins here and there, but for a budget title, I think it's kind of like a budget title, I'm not really sure if it is, really, but it's a game that really came out of nowhere, I wasn't expecting much, and it didn't look that bad, so let's go on to the gameplay. Okay, now the gameplay for the most part is very generic. It's a third-person shooter at its heart with some cool little features in there. Like the mindjacking thing, the whole thing is called Mindjack, the game is called Mindjack, okay? The mindjacking thing sounds cool on paper, but when you play it, it gets old really fast. All you do is go out of your body, you're a disembodied floating thing that makes a really loud noise, like I said before, and you can go and embody a civilian, a robot that's laying there for some reason, or a civilian that's just going, hey, I'm hanging out here while stuff is blowing up, I'm just going to stand here, or I'm going to go, ooh, look all scared or something like that. And when you control them, they automatically get a gun out of nowhere, but I'm not gonna complain because that would suck if I go to a civilian and guess what? He has no gun. I have to go freaking search for one. What's the point of that? I don't really care. I'm not gonna question that because it's convenient and I like that. So yeah, you can go and mindjack them, and some strategies, you can do some strategies here and there with that, because if you're like behind somewhere, because there is a cover system, and if you're behind something and there's like 1,000 freaking enemies around, and you have no way to kill all of them without getting blasted, and you could get out of your body and go all the way to a different civilian and go and freaking right behind them and kill as many as you can, then go back to your regular guy and go kill the rest. That's pretty strategic. Too bad the AI is retarded and it doesn't really matter. You could just go kill them, pop up, pop back down, pop up, pop back down, and really, you could just keep doing that until all of them are dead. Of course, I didn't do that because I'm badass and I just run in there Rambo style, but of course I died a few times doing that, but I felt like a man doing it. Also, that's one other thing I hate. Two things about the game. If you die, you go all the way back to the start of the mission, which sometimes isn't that bad because some of the missions last like 2 or 3 minutes, but sometimes, you just fought like a whole bunch of guys and you don't want to fight them again, and you have to do it again just to get to a boss that you'll probably die at again, which is annoying. And also, there's no pause feature. You can pause the game, but everything will still go on. People could still kill you when you pause it, and it's pretty much like, you need to take a piss? Screw you. Anyway, besides those two things, I think it's just a generic game with a cool premise that just kind of fails. It's a shooter at its, a third-person shooter at its most generic. I like saying generic. I can't think of anything else to say. But really, it is a generic shooter, and overall, I don't know why people are hating it as much. Sure, some of the shooting's a little weird here and there. The dialogue's terrible. The story's bad, but it's laughable. And it's gonna be one of those games I'm gonna remember some of these retarded lines later on, and I'll be like, you know what, that was funny. It's gonna be another Rogue Warrior for me, where everybody hated it and I loved it. So yeah, check the written review in the description below. Thank you, and there you go. There's my review for Mindjack.